Greetings, beautiful people. This is SB Favor Thinking Podcast, and my name is SB Favor. How are you doing today? It is Saturday, January 2nd, 2021. We have crossed over into another year, and Happy New Year to you. And if you are out there traveling about, make sure that you are wearing your mask and using your hand sanitizer. We all have to do our part to stay safe during this pandemic. So please keep yourself safe, keep that social distance, and keep your family members safe. This is my first episode of 2021, and my first guest of this year is an actress, comedian, producer, and writer. She was the first place winner of America's Funniest People. She has worked with people like Jamie Foxx and Robert Downey Jr. in the movie The Soloist. She has also worked several stages across America, from California to New York, and she has tons of work out there to be seen in film. Her name is Annie McNight. Hey Annie, how you doing?
Hey, SB, how are you?
I'm great. How was your holiday?
It was great. Plenty of food, no people.
Really? Plenty of food and no people. Isn't it something? We just all been in quarantine and trying to stay safe. Isn't it something?
I know, things have really changed, especially this year.
Yeah, I just hope for the best and pray that things will change in some kind of way, because it's going on a year. March will be here before you know it.
It's crazy. It's horrible. I hope everybody just learned that, hey, we got to follow the rules, and stay masked up, stay clean, and stay prayed up and hopeful.
Yes, absolutely. I wanted to talk to you today because, you have the gift to bring a smile to others, and we all have some type of gift to serve others, and your gift is to make people laugh, and I just think that that's awesome. So tell me, why did you choose comedy?
I would have to really say, SB, that comedy chose me. I really wasn't looking for it. It was just part of my nature. When I was growing up, I was the only one that was able to make my grandmother laugh, while she was going through her unfortunate time of Alzheimer's. That back then they used to call it old timers disease, but that's what it was. And she would always be able to break that nothingness stage of mindlessness. And when I would come around, and I would do crazy stuff and say something, and and she would laugh at me. And so my auntie said that she was going to call me Bozo because I make everybody laugh.
Right. Wow.
So that's how it kind of came about. It kind of fell upon me. It was a gift. Like you said, it was innate. God has blessed me with it, and it just kind of like kept evolving.
That's beautiful, because in the midst of what she was going through, she was able to laugh. That's awesome.
It really was something.
Wow. Wow. So tell me how you got started, in the film industry and the stages, because you've been making things happen, and you won the America's Funniest People, won first place, and
$10,000.
Yeah, what was that like? Tell me, what was the thoughts that went through your mind when you actually won? Tell me about that.
It was fantastic. I had just finished working over at the Fox Theater with it was with Don Cornelius, and they was trying to do their first Soul Train comedy event. Chris Tucker was there. What's her name? Wanda Sykes was there. A lot of other comedians, they was there performing in the show, and I did my performance, and one of the scouts from America's Funniest People were in the audience. And she came up to me afterwards. She said, "Do you write?" I said, "Yeah, I write." She said, "Wow, could you think you could write something about a 1-minute bit or something for America's Funny People, and we can compete, and you may win $10,000."
Wow.
I'm like, shoot, yeah, I'll try. And I was pregnant at the time.
Wow.
And I know, and with my first child, and I went back and I wrote two little bits. I wrote one called Tina in Lamont's Class, because I do impersonations.
Okay.
And I was impersonating, Tina Turner was hot during that time.
Okay.
And so I was like, okay, I can do that. And then after the next one, I was going to do about being pregnant and eating. And so I showed them both to the lady, and they chose Tina Lamont's Class. They said, let's do Tina Lamont's Class.
Wow.
And so I went over there and did my thing,
Mm-hmm.
They like take things and do it nice and easy. But that's one thing wrong with that. I never ever do nothing nice and easy. Take a tell that. And so, and I just, went on and I was saying for now, I was like, we're going to take the beginning of this song, we're going to do it easy. Right. And we're going to take the ending and do it rough. And so I was doing it, and, at the end, I was shaking and stuff, and I said, what's love got to do with it? And then I grabbed my baby's stomach, and my stomach, and I said, everything. And, 2 days later, the next day I had the baby, yeah. Wow. Next day I had the baby, and had a little girl, and next thing you know, I was getting my check for $10,000 because I won when they played it, and the audience, and I was chosen. So I was so happy about that. Truly a blessing.
Wow. So from there, your career went to a whole nother level, I'm sure.
Yeah, it did. It kept climbing, and I had just moved out here to California and everything, and so from there, that was one of my key token things to help me get in the door, that I was $10,000, one of America's Funniest People. Yeah. That was a well-known TV show, and I just kept climbing from there. I went to do the work on BET as a staff writer, and worked with Miss Laura, on a couple of writing for her, and then we moved on from there and was writing for the Blackberry Inn, and it was like a sketch show with various comedy skits in it, and I was doing Me and My Girl, Gus the Cabbie with Doug Williams, and myself. So it was some funny stuff that we was doing back then. It was really good. The Way We Do It was the name of the show on BET.
That's awesome. So,
yeah, it was something else. Just getting out there doing it, staying active and staying positive, and things start happening.
So when you come up with an idea, what's the first thing you do if you want to share? If you don't want to share, it's okay.
Well, it depends on what's it about. To be honest with you, I have a lot of ideas that pop up in my head continuously, and sometimes it's a place where I can place it right away, possibly in a joke. Oh wow! And sometimes it's something that I can use if I'm writing a script. Okay. So it just depends on what it is, and then that determines where I place it. I'll write it down if I need to work it out, because some things need to be fleshed out, so people can totally understand it. Because that's one thing about comedy, is the relaying of the joke. You gotta lay it out just like a red carpet, so people can walk on it and feel good about walking on it. That's where I describe comedy. Because a lot of times you can walk on something and it might not feel too good. It could be squishy, it could be wet, it could be dirty. So I try to come up with content, that people just walk on it. It'd be funny. I'm not a squeaky clean comic. Okay. I do secular comedy. I do, church comedy. Okay. So it just depends. I've always groomed myself to say and to be, I work for the people. I'm there for the audience. I'm not catered to the audience. I don't make my audience cater to me. That's why I'm able to do clean and dirty, and if you want to say dirty, I say risque.
What's dirty? What's dirty? What is dirty? I mean, when you say dirty, I know it. Well, I can have my own perception of what dirty is, but somebody else might have another perception of what dirty is.
Exactly. See, and that's what I said risque. That's why I kind of like change it, because people might say dirty. Right. What's she talking about? Right. And so it just depends. Again, the venue. Now, if I go to a nightclub, they want to hear risque comedy. They want to hear adult comedy, and adult, everybody knows adult comedy is adult subjects, topics, politics, life, dislife, male, female, sex, things of that nature, and it has its place too. Right, that makes sense. And so, and a lot of times people try to act like, oh my God, you have to do one or the other. No, because God has made me in a miraculous way, and if I'm able to do both, that's what He wants me to do.
Yeah, and that sounds good because, like you said, depending on the venue, that's what you cater to the people, what the people want, right? And so that's a blessing because you're flexible, Exactly. Some comedians, they just stick to one thing, And it's good to be flexible. Personally, I like to hear comedians just have a conversation with the audience, so to speak. Especially when a comedian tells stories. I love stories. I like to hear stories, because when I hear a story and it's funny, it kind of just takes me on a journey with that comedian, and I just love that. I love it. I love it a lot. Yeah. So let me ask you this: what has been the greatest challenge that you experienced as a comedian on stage? Like, talk about some of the challenges you have experienced.
Well, just dealing with, I would say, basically, you said that I dealt with what kind of challenges?
On stage, yes.
On stage, I would have to say it would be in an audience that are trying to feed the people on the stage. Sometimes you can go into an atmosphere and the people are, they want to hear the comedy, but they think they got to be part of the show.
Oh, wow.
So they want to say what they want to say, and then you got to be able to hit them hard. And
so they just
sometimes being a female, they'll think, oh, you ain't got nothing to do, yeah. And then once I slap them a couple of times, then they back up off of it. Then they realize, no, this is the real deal right here. I'm like the real McCoy, baby. Yeah. You bring it, you're going to get it. And so I don't like doing that. Okay. Because, I go in with my stuff already set up and know what I want to say and what I want to do, topics I want to touch on. And sometimes that could be a difficult arena, to be in, especially when you come in for a certain thing or when the audience is too noisy. I had to do something with the attorney, Benjamin Grump. I was doing a show for them earlier this year, last year, because this is just a new year now. And the venue was nice and everything, but the people were so loud, and it was because we had so many dignitaries up in there. We had Jesse Jackson. We had what's the lawyer? The lawyer that's on TV. What's his name? He's been on there for years. Judge Mathis. Yes. So when you got people like that, everybody trying to holler, everybody trying to talk to them, and looking and stuff. So that was odd and difficult, because normally if it was a club setting, I could just come off the cuff. Okay. Off the cuff, and say something, that might be a little belligerent,
right. Right.
But to shut them down, they're black folks, and so trying to shut them down a little bit. But when you're dealing with dignitarians and scholars and people who have held high office,
you have to be good.
You got to be good.
Yeah.
And then it might make you look like you're not so good.
Right.
But you just can't tell the man sitting there trying to talk to Jackson Jackson to shut the F up. You just don't say that. So. Right.
So you had to be good, and you just kind of like toned it down a little bit and kind of flipped the script on something that was a little bit, chilled out.
Exactly. That's it.
So let me ask you this: how does, or let me say this: how do you know when God is inspiring you to say something that is like hilariously funny? How do you know when He's like right there in the midst of it, inspiring you to say something crazy? Because God has a sense of humor. Unfortunately, some people don't believe that or know that, but God has a sense of humor. He has a great sense of humor.
I believe that. I think that when it can be a long joke and ends up with positivity, that's when I know it's God inspired.
Wow.
When I can go up there and He'll put a little nugget in my head, and I'll think about it, and I'll flush it out, and I'll write it, and then I see how it just grows into a beautiful bit of comedy that not only makes you laugh but make you think. And that's when I know that a joke that I have, may have, still going to create, that is touched by God.
Awesome.
That's how I know.
When you're going through a personal challenging time, do you use your own jokes to get through?
I do. I really do. I laugh at myself, and then I talk to myself, and I'll get myself up out the funk if I ever fall in one.
Yes.
And I think that's important. I think it's important, just like it's another form of self-maintenance. You know, you can self-maintenance on the body, you know, in various ways with lotions, you know, to take the dryness out, you know, with our hair by washing and grooming, as well as our mind by sometimes just speaking and talking out loud to ourselves. It's not a bad thing at all. But the thing is that you have to be able to accept that and know that, because talking to yourself, not all the time. Don't get me wrong when I say talk to yourself.
Right.
You know?
Right. Right.
But I think we have to question. I think if we just readily go about whatever comes to our mind, then there's nothing wrong with that if it's solid. But if it's not always solid, if it's something you need to think about, if it's a thought in anger, if it's a thought in jealousy, if it's a thought in something malicious, then no, we can't just act on that.
That's right.
And that's why I say it's good for us to be able to talk to ourselves, and because if we don't, who is the barometer?
That's right.
You know, I think it's somewhere in the Word where it tells us, you know, we have to be our own captain of our ship. You know what I'm saying? And God is the ship. He's the one that's carrying us. Yeah. So, but we have got to be able to know how to navigate and listen and pay attention too. And I think a lot of times when people don't do that, that's when they fall out. That's when they miss out. I think they miss out on the word of what could be said to them internally. You know, because that's how most of us grow, is say, well, I just felt this, and something just came to me, you know, and it doesn't always have to be in a late night. You could be on a crowded bus.
That is true. That's true, because I believe that God is always inspiring us to do something, right? And as you mentioned, yes, it comes in through our thought life. And if we pay attention, as you stated, to what it is and knowing the difference, that's how you know it's God, because God will not influence or make you do something that's against him, you know, like you said, you know, jealousy or anything that is contrary of who he is, anything that's dark, you know, but anything that's in the light, anything that can inspire and uplift and help the next person, absolutely, God will speak to our mind, and he'll give us a provoking good thought. You know, that's how I write my inspirational quotes, because I sit down and I just meditate sometimes, and I can feel God just speak to me so that I can come up with a good inspirational quote. But back to you.
Amen. But that's good. And that's good that you did it, because that is the power. That's the Spirit. And we're supposed to be led by the Spirit. And if we got to listen to it in order to be led.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah. And this time that we're living in, we need to be connected to God as much as possible, and we need to laugh as much as possible, because laughter is like medicine. When you laugh, your body releases endorphins, which makes you feel good. It gets rid of the symptoms of depression, and it gets rid of the things that you don't need physiologically. So laughter is like medicine. We got to always remember that, you know. I try to laugh at least once a day or more, you know. I come from a family where that's all they do is just laugh. They're always laughing about something. They make up stuff. Good. Yeah. So you know, so it's important, and thinking about, you know, people like yourself that have that gift. That's a phenomenal thing, because God is always tickling you about something.
I never put it like that, but that's a very good way to look at it.
Yes.
Exactly. He's always tickling me about something.
That's right.
And that is so true, because when I think sometimes and then like whatever I'm thinking about, and the nuances of it becomes a story in my mind, and it'll just go on down the road, and I'll be sometimes so tickled. I really will.
Yes.
And I'll just be laughing, and I'll just point up to God, you know, and I'm like, look at you, what you doing? You giving me all this crazy stuff to say, and then I know once I put it on paper, you know, because he tells us that too. That's part of the commandment, you know. Well, not the commandment, but that's part of the word of one of the things he suggested we should do. You're supposed to write it down.
Yes, yes.
You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. Write it down and speak it into
That's right. Get power to life. It. That's right.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yes, because there's life and death in the power of the tongue. When you speak life, you have the power to bring something to pass. Absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
That's right. That's right. Mm-hmm. And then I was writing it down, mm-hmm. kind of like it's a completion of it, and then by writing it down, it's just like how the Bible is. You can always go back to it and remember and speak it. Continue to speak it out into it completes itself.
Yeah.
How it says, "Speak it so it shall be," and that is so important. I think a lot of times we miss that. Yeah. I think a lot of times with electronics and so many distractions, that we get past that, mm-hmm. and that's what we have to remember. Yes. Just what we need to do to make an impact for our lives.
Yes, I totally agree. Having a focus every single day gives great benefits. And I'm not talking about being so focused that you can't have a good time, but waking up with a focus and throughout your day, when you have quiet time, it's so important to have that focus, because what you're talking about, Annie, it will give you a moment of clarity with God, because those are the times that he will actually speak to you. Because sometimes people say, well, how does God speak? It's when we are paying attention. And a lot of times people are not paying attention. And, I just believe that, because if you stay still long enough and just have a focus throughout your day, you will know when God is speaking to you. And I'm glad you mentioned that, Annie. I'm glad you mentioned that.
Amen. Yeah. And that's why he tells us to watch and pray, because while we're praying and we stand with our mind on what we want and what we need, mm-hmm. and what he wants us to do, mm-hmm. all of that.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying? And a lot of times people say, well, how can you do all that? Well, the same way you walk around and you think about the clothes.
That's right.
The same way you walk around and you look at the dude and you're like, the same way.
Yes.
The same way you have to redirect your thoughts. Okay, now, God, I know, I need to mm-hmm. get some rope for such and such stuff. I got something coming up. Feed my spirit, God, with what I need to say to those people.
Yes.
See, when we pray, we got to have a purpose, but also at the end of the prayer, we got to have the solution tacked on.
That's right.
And I think that's how a lot of people, they miss out on the gifts, and also the completion of the prayer, and also getting what they want to say across. Because we already know we want.
Yes.
So speak the outcome.
Amen.
Oh God, I'm going to do this, and I want it to end. I want it to be great. Okay, what do you mean by great? I want to get another gig out of this, Lord. I want everybody to be able to go home, health and strength, Lord. I want you to have me in my right mind. Yes. When I walk on the stage to deliver, Lord. Things like that.
Yes.
When we pray, we got to pray it into existence, but also we got to have the outcome, the ending.
Yes.
Because he's listening to
That's
what
right.
we want and what we're asking for.
That's
and
right.
A lot of times I think people get confused.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? Well, what do I say to God? Like you just said, the person makes sure, well, how do I know what I'm listening for? Because you already know what you want.
Amen. That's right.
So if you concentrate on what you want to know how to get to that position of what you want. There's an apple on the table.
Yes.
But you're in a wheelchair.
Mm-hmm.
And there's no one there to push you around.
Mm-hmm.
What can you do? A, should I push myself? B, should I call for assistance?
Mm-hmm.
C, do I just act like I'm some type of metaphysics that can make the apple get up and move towards me? We have to choose one that's going to be the better for us, because all three of those are thoughts.
Right, right.
So what do we do with the thought? What's the best? Hey, I better call somebody.
Right.
I better call somebody.
Right.
Tell them to come help me. Either to bring me the apple or take me to the apple.
There's
always a solution. There's always an ending.
Yes.
And we have to speak also the ending into existence.
Yes.
And always say, I want. We want everything.
Yes, that's good.
Be specific. Mm-hmm.
Be specific. And be,
you have to be specific.
Proactive with solutions. That's right. Excellent. Excellent.
And bring an ending to whatever you're praying for. Always have the ending, the outcome to what you want to be.
Yeah.
God bless me. Bless you with what, child? What you want?
Yeah.
Done. now.
Yeah. Well, thank you so much for saying that. Somebody needed to hear that, and it's important that we have clarity about the specifics of everything we need to communicate. Yes, you're on point. But let me ask you this. You do work for the homeless, and tell me a little bit about that, because we all should have a place in our life where we plan to do some type of charity work. I just think that's so important. I'm trying to do more, and I encourage my listeners to do more, and I just think that we all should do something. It's crazy to live a life thinking that, oh, well, I got everything I need, and that's just life. No, life is about having what you need, but yet being a blessing to someone else as well. So, Annie, tell me a little bit about your homeless work that you've done for the homeless people.
Yeah, I've always tried to care for people whatever way I could. Gathering of clothes, gathering of food, even lending of money. I won't say lending, giving money.
Yes.
And not a whole lot of people don't get excited. I'm like the rest of y'all. But it's important to give back.
Yes.
Because they say, am I my brother or sister keeper? Yes, I am. I've got to give back, because if I ever want somebody to give back to me, I got to have something already in the vault.
Right.
And that's what happens oftentimes. We're wandering around here and we're working with an empty vessel. And the vessel is empty because you have not put anything inside it.
Mm-hmm.
And if you don't put anything inside it, you don't expect to get anything out of it.
Right.
And that's one thing that we have to be mindful of.
Yes.
And it doesn't take a whole lot to give. And when I was walking among the homeless, it was so funny how God would bring those that were spiritually seeking Him. One time I was walking through feeding, and it was this younger white guy, and he was just standing there, and I don't know what it meant. He said, to God be the glory. I said, yeah. To God be the glory. I said, God, He's the one. I said, you stay focused, brother, because those people out there, they've fallen upon some hard times.
Yes.
Whether it be mental or physical, emotional stress, because sometimes just our emotions sometimes can get the best of us and can debilitate us faster than a broken arm. Because if we're not able to carry ourselves, we sure aren't able to carry out any function. And with the homeless people, a lot of that population, unfortunately, that's what the problem is. They are mentally ill. And some of them know. Some are drifters.
Yes.
Some of them are drug users. Those are sometimes the younger population with opioids, and those with the crack, and the heavy drugs. And then when you see that, that's when you know. Yeah. That's when you know that person unfortunately is lost, and then that's when they need somebody like me that may come along and impart resources. And that's what I did. I would try to get them to resources. I ran up on a lot of young people who have come to California to be a star. I knew this one cat, his name called himself Tupac, and he emulated Tupac. Right. And he wanted to be like this man, but he's homeless, and but that's his journey. No matter what, he wants to do that. So he has set upon himself to do that. So when it gets like that, and I'm able to feed you, and I'm able to try to tell you something to help you, give you some resources, then I feel in my life that I have done something to assist that person. When I come back around on my route again and I see that person, they remember me, and even more so when they remember my name, I know that I have impeded that person.
So you would just go out and feed them and help them, and sometimes you would see the same people, and then other occasions you would see different people.
Because they were drifters. Okay. So I would work in the Santa Monica area, the Hollywood area, and so they was drifters. So you might see one at one park, and then the next day that same person may be at a different park. because they just wander about, and sometimes they wander aimlessly, but they remember, just like a dog or a cat who feeds them. They say, don't bite the hand that feeds you. So it's funny how that is. And it's really just a natural thing of being a human, or alive, should I say, because even animal isn't considered human, but they know food. They know what they want. I have cats that come to my back door now, stray cats, because I have cats that live inside my home. But the stray cats, just because they know I will put a nibble out for them, they will come back.
Have you prayed with them? Have you ever prayed with the homeless?
Have I ever prayed with the homeless?
Pray with them, yes. Have you ever prayed with them? Yeah.
Yes, I have. I've prayed with plenty of them.
Awesome.
I have, yes, ma'am. Oh, yes, ma'am. And that's how come I said it's funny, like, when they see me, like it's already a spiritual connection that they already can know, and how God has put it in my heart to be able to talk to almost anybody.
That's awesome.
Almost anyone. And like I say, and they remember, because, again, they walking around, I'm walking around, feeding, taking food from day to day to different parks, and they'll see and they'll remember.
Let me ask you this. Do you think that as a public person, as a public figure yourself, it is an obligation that you have to help people on different levels?
I do. And I'll tell you why I say that. Because we are all not made the same.
Right.
And I know how I'm able to say something and talk to some people that others are not. I know how I'm able to care about something that somebody may not, and there's some others that even do that what I'm able to do, that care and don't care. I'm not the only one made like this. I know God didn't break the mold with me, but I do feel as though it's part of my mission. It's part of my reason for being. Because I'm able to impede in people's lives, and it's so natural and so easy. It just flows. Half of it is never even pushed.
Right.
It's like it just happens. Like all of a sudden, people are drawn to be drawn to me. I've noticed that, and how they'll look at me and I look at them and stuff, and I think they see the peace in me, and I think they see that there's no fear.
The light of God, yes, the light of God.
Amen. The light of God.
Yeah, that's
Somebody
beautiful.
Somebody had said that the other day when they was watching my last show. They said, "Oh, Annie, I can see it in you." And then another friend of mine would say, "Well, you know why when people always come to you, don't you?" I said, "Why?" She said, "Because the glory of God, they see it on you." I said, "You think that's what it is?"
It is, because
we send God a message.
It is, because God has blessed you, and He has blessed you to be where you are. He's blessing you with the work according to the desire of your heart. He has blessed you to do the work that you have already done. God is blessing you, and in return, He has trusted you so much so that He knows that you will turn around and be a blessing to somebody else. And I just think that's awesome. Talk to me about your work or plans for 2021, because I know you have some work that's coming up soon.
Yeah, I got a couple of things on the table. My next virtual show, will be on the 31st of this month for the Laugh Factory.
Okay.
I'll make sure I send you that information. Maybe you can post it, tell people, share it.
Sure.
I also got a show that I wrote, produced, and directed called Hire a Man Agency.
Okay.
And I'm looking forward to that. It's doing well. It's with Over Network. It's a new network made, should I say, not made, but created by a black woman, Cassandra Cooper.
Okay.
And so we are hoping that show does well. She has other shows too that she's bringing to her network. So this is going to be pretty good. It's going to be awesome. And so I'm looking forward to it. I've worked with her before years ago on another project that she was doing, and then she created this network, and I read about it in the Forbes magazine.
Oh wow!
And so I was like, "Oh, let me call Cassandra."
Well, that's awesome.
And it was funny because I had already had my show in the making. That's how come you have to step out on faith.
Yes,
you know, I didn't have no place that I knew I was going to put my show.
Right.
But I had wrote the show. I felt as though I was led to basically film the show, and I'm glad I did before all this stuff happened with COVID.
Oh, wow.
And one thing led to the other, and then when she got a network, of course, networks need content.
Yes.
And here I am.
Well, we're looking forward to hearing more about that. Is it a release date, or are you just still working on things right now?
Yeah, we're still working on things and getting ready to start up probably the end of this month. The end of this month, the beginning of February. Okay. Everything is going. I'm writing. I wrote some things. Shoot, maybe I have to put you in there. See if find a way to put you up in there.
Sure. I'll just say greetings, beautiful people.
Okay. It's me.
That's awesome. And the name of it is, what is the name of it again? Hire,
HIRE. A Man Agency.
Hire a Man. Okay.
And it's kind of like me being the matchup person. I'm the Cupid of the show, I guess you would say, that matching people together, moving in and a little bit beyond the electronics world of matching up, because all of these matchup apps we have, and people still aren't able to match up. So I think we need to get back to the old-fashioned way.
Yeah, that's a whole nother topic, but you're absolutely right.
Whole nother topic.
Jesus. Okay, well, what would you say to that person that's listening right now that needs to be inspired? They're trying to pursue their dreams, and they've had difficulties, and they probably even had different levels of hardship. What would you say to that person not to give up, to be inspired, to keep pursuing their dreams? Because, like I said, God has blessed you tremendously. He blessed you to win America's Funniest People, and your career has taken off, and you've done a lot of work. You've worked with Jamie Foxx and so many other people. And so what would you say to that person that's listening to be inspired?
Go for it. Go for it. No matter what the obstacles look like. It always look like it's a roadblock. But we know on the other side of that block, there's a horizon.
Yes.
There's something there that you need to break through, and you can do it. Get your tools together, first of all. Know the direction where you want to go in and implement it. Just do it. Just do it. If you want to sing, write your song. If you want to act, find a play. You can start at the churches. Churches are always looking for people to do this or do that. Go to your local theater. You know, it's so many avenues you can do. It's suppose you don't want to do nothing in entertainment. Well, Annie, I want to be an engineer. Hey, hit those books. Find out about George Washington Carver. Look at all the great things he did just with a peanut. Trust me, that was back in the day engineering.
Yes.
That was engineering without all the mechanics. So no matter what you want to do, it can be done. Just take the first step. It doesn't matter where you are, what you've been doing, or where you've been. You know, just take the first step and go for it. That's really what it's all about.
Yep, there you go.
Not being afraid.
Not being afraid and taking action, because faith without works is dead, just as the body is dead without the spirit. Faith without works is dead, just as the body is dead without the spirit. So take action and stay committed to your goals, people. Stay committed to your goals. And like Annie said, just do it. Just do it.
That's right.
And Annie, I thank you for
And it would happen. I was going to say one thing you don't mind.
Go ahead,
God say, I know my plan for you.
Yes, that's right.
So if he knows it, then all you got to do is get on the road to it. Because it's already be planned out. And if you ask him to lead your path, he will lead it.
He will lead it for sure. Because he's
follow the Holy Spirit.
That's right. He will. He will. And don't think that just because it's a pandemic, you have to pause everything. No, keep working on your craft. Keep doing the work however you can do it. And like Annie said, just do it. Just do it. And I just hope that listeners, you stay inspired, stay lifted up, stay safe, and do all that you know to do to, stay in faith and keep your hope, stay encouraged, because in this hour that we're living in, we need each other And we need to be reminded that we can make it. So please keep praying, stay hopeful, and do not surround yourself with anything that's going to steal anything from your faith. So I thank you so much for listening to SB Favorite Thinking Podcast. Annie, I thank you for taking the time out to talk to me today. And I will have you back in the future so we can talk about your projects. And
please do.
Absolutely, because you're my friend. You're my friend. And I thank God for you because you have encouraged me many days. You don't even know, but you have. And
Praise God.
I thank you for that. And so, listeners, if you need to reach me, you can reach me at sbfavor@yahoo.com via email. You can also find me on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram at sbfavor. I also have a YouTube channel. You can find me there at sbfavor. Please click like and leave me some feedback. If you leave me something negative, I'm going to ignore you because that's what I do. So, I thank you again for listening to SB Favorite Thinking Podcast. You have a good day.